I think this might be the calm before the storm. There's a lot of people who have not purchased homes because of affordability issues or because they're trying to time the market on the sidelines.
So let's go straight into
Hi, my name is Danny Brown, and I'm the CEO of Myriad Real Estate Group, and this is going to be our July market update. Here we are in the month of July, talking about the Phoenix real estate market and where we're at. So right now we're just over 13,000 listings, and if you've seen my videos in the past, we've been hovering between 13 and 14,000 listings on the market for a while. So we seem to be kind of at peak listing inventory for the market. And having 13,000 homes on the market is actually a good thing. We're up off of the bottoms and up off of the 11,000 that we were stuck at this time last year. So more choices for the buyers who are out there. The good news is mortgage rates are lower. So the economy is softening. The jobs market is worsening. So we've seen the unemployment rate go up slightly from 4% to 4.1%. We had revisions over the last couple of months saying less jobs were created than what was initially thought. And so a lot of that is leading to mortgage rates coming down, and some people predicting that we might potentially be headed towards that recession that we were talking about all of last year. When there's bad economic news, that's usually good news for mortgage rates. Now, we never want people to lose their jobs. We don't want the economy to be derailed, but those indicators showing that the economy is slowing and worsening is usually good for mortgage rates. Now, if we do head into a recession, what typically ends up happening is the Fed will try to jumpstart the economy by backing rates down, which means they could be a little bit more aggressive than what they were thinking in terms of rate cuts. And then usually they also buy what are called mortgage-backed securities. So the Fed has not been buying any mortgage-backed securities for quite a long time, which is one of the reasons why mortgage rates have been as high as they have been. And so once they start to buy mortgage-backed securities, they are trying to jumpstart that part of the economy. And remember, the housing market has been in a recession for almost 3 years now, and a lot of our economy is tied to housing. So think of construction workers, home remodels, furniture, appliances, all the things and all the industries that are tied to housing have been suffering over the last few years. And so if the Fed starts buying mortgage-backed securities, those rates should come down, and then we might see an increase in demand from all those buyers that have been pushed out of the market due to affordability issues. You probably see it in your newsfeed all the time, just like I do, that there's always doom and gloom, especially as it pertains to the housing market. So I think that that happens mostly because all these algorithms manipulate us, and if it bleeds, it leads. A lot of these people will be posting and have posted for years that the market is going to crash. It's going to crash because of Airbnbs. It's going to crash because of forbearance. It's going to crash because of COVID. It's going to crash, like whatever the reason is, that's the new thing. And that's the reason that the market's going to crash. And guess what? It never has. The market will go up, the market will pull back a little bit, but for the most part, it continues to trend up. And so I think that people need to remember that the headlines are there to just get you to click on them, and that they are gloomy because there's always doom and gloom in the world. And I think about it and relate it to like driving, right? So when you're driving down the freeway and if there's a car accident, everybody slows down to look at it, even if it's off the side of the road and there's no reason why everybody should slow down, they still rubberneck and they want to look at it. So I think it's something that's just ingrained in us that when there's negativity and bad stuff happening, for some reason, we want to look at it. The reason that this is relevant is because I think this is the calm before the storm. We've kind of seen this before, and this relates in the Phoenix market back to kind of 2014, where there was a lot of doom and gloom. A lot of people thought that we were going to see another dip and crash in the housing market, and there was affordability issues. There was a lot of issues in 2014, and then looking back at it, the market went on a tear and home values dramatically increased. And so again, the reason this is relevant is because I think this is the calm before that same storm. We are closer to interest rates coming down than continuing to go up. The gap between the 10-year and where mortgage rates are at has narrowed significantly and still has a ways to go. We are closer to Fed rate cuts than Fed rate hikes. The economy is softening. And all of this, if we're trying to read the tea leaves, is telling us that mortgage rates are going to come down. And over the last 2 to 3 years, there's been a lot of people who have delayed purchasing a home, who have delayed selling a home because of affordability issues. There's a lot of people out there, and we talk to them, that want to do something that either can't because they can't afford it and they're waiting for rates to come down, or they're trying to time the market and just want to get something with a lower rate. So if you are somebody that's been sitting on the sidelines and there are homes out there that you like, that you can afford that monthly payment, I'm very big on that. I do not want people to stretch their budget and buy something they can't afford. Do it when it makes sense for you and you can afford it. So if you can find a house that you like, you can afford the monthly payment, I think that you can take advantage of this window of time to get a good deal on a home. So we have several instances and examples of where we're negotiating the purchase price down. We are getting massive concessions out of sellers in terms of closing costs, buying that mortgage rate down, doing extensive repairs if the home needs it. I have listings and I get comments from agents that they feel like it's priced too high or their client likes it but not at this price. It's like, well, send me an offer. I'm telling these agents, send me an offer. If they don't like it at this price, tell me a price that does make sense. I will present it to the seller and see where we can end up. I'm not the only one that's like that. So there are a lot of sellers out there who are motivated to sell. They just need to find a buyer and they're willing to give them a deal. So what can buyers expect as we continue into the summer months? Well, July and August tend to be softer months for real estate. A lot of people are out of town, taking vacation, avoiding the heat. So that is a good opportunity for buyers. We do see an uptick in activity just historically, September, October, and the first half of November. So if you are a buyer that's in the market, this is a good opportunity for you because not only are there not a lot of buyers competing with you in general, it's even less due to the time of year. So this is a really good buying opportunity for buyers out there who want to be a little bit more aggressive in their offer strategy to potentially get a good deal on a home. If you're out seeing homes with us, we always bring you ice cold water and snacks. So there's that. We advise all of our sellers to set the thermostats in the low 80s or high 70s, so there is air conditioner. But viewing homes in July and August, there's no fun because you're in and out of the car and it's freaking hot outside. If you're a seller, I'm sorry, expect longer days on market, but this isn't bad. Let me just preface that this is a balanced market. Sellers have been spoiled for a really long time, so I don't feel bad for sellers. You have been able to sell your home very quickly over the last few years. Well, now it's taking 30, 60, 90, 120 days to sell a house. You need to put out a good product, and if you don't have a good product, then you need to price it aggressively. You need to be willing to give concessions in those instances. This is not a market where you can list your trash and expect to get premium pricing for it. You've got to be realistic in that pricing, and the further out of reality that you are, the longer it's going to take to sell. So those homes that are bad locations, so if you're on a busy road, back to a park or a grocery store, it's going to take longer for you to sell. You need to be more aggressive in your pricing. If it looks good and is a fantastic home, it's going to garner a lot of interest. You may still end up with multiple offers because that inventory is still low, but it's happening less and less these days. So if you've got a good product, you still got to price it right. And I've used this analogy before, but imagine the market is a wave. And so through the spring, we're headed up, 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 and then the summer, that wave crests. So if you're still trying to ride that wave of appreciation, you've missed it. So now you've got to start pricing lower. And there's a huge difference between price drops and prices coming down versus values coming down. Home values haven't dropped, but prices are dropping. So that just means that too many sellers were riding that wave of appreciation and they've priced too high. They've missed that crest, and now they've got to start pricing it a little bit lower. Does not mean that the sales price or home values are dropping. That's my thoughts on the July housing market. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe, and we will see you next month.